All right, this machine has issues with the blades. I'm gonna turn them on. You'll be able to hear what's going on. The bearings are bad. All right, here we go. Those bearings are shot. You can't grease them. If you have some kind of trick where I can drill a hole in it and grease them, let me know. But I don't know of a way to do that, so I gotta replace them. I wish they were like the old style where you could grease them, because I would do it religiously and they would never go bad. But the new style, as long as they're tapered and they are greasable, they will last forever. These are just throw away, and they're like $300 a piece now. So let's change them out. First thing we want to do is take these off. And we want to take off the actual blades. Hopefully we can get them off without too much trouble. But sometimes they're just welded on there. Like these are welded on there. I'm going to tap them with a hammer. All right, so we get these off. Take the cover off. So you need 15/16. You need one with a deep socket like this one. And you need a shallow one on the bottom. And you gotta get these going in tandem. And sometimes you even need a breaker bar. I was able to get these off without a breaker bar. You may need a breaker bar on one of them. This is the old style that has top and bottom. A lot of the newer ones don't have top, they only have bottom. So keep that in mind. But these will eventually break off like that, and then they'll start spinning. And just take the blades off and make sure you memorize what you have. I have 3 up top, so I gotta remember that on both sides. Oop. Don't lose any of those parts. And have your blades handy. You're gonna put some new blades on. These blades have seen better days. And you'll need it jacked up in order to pull this out. This won't come out all the way unless you jack it up like I've got it on my ramp door here. So the other side needs to be moved. And here are the new blades, way, way better. Way better. All right, we'll get these ready. That's ready to go on. Now I'll get the other side off. I'm going to try to use these car ramps. All right, I got them both off. Now we got to take the spindles off. And before we take the spindles off, we need to take off the tapered pulleys that are on there. Oh, and take off the belt. Let's do that first. So for the belt, it's under tension. You just gotta stick this breaker bar in here and move it so the tension is released like that. And when you release the tension, slip it off one of the pulleys. I can't do it. I can't show you without dropping the camera. I need 2 hands for that. All right, that's slipped off, so just leave it there, and let's work on these tapered bearings. Just kind of push this out of the way without getting grease on it. They need 7/16 inch sockets. You take these out and then you gently put them back in this hole, and it presses the bearing off of the end of the spindle. What it does, or the spindle off of the tapered pulley off of the bearing and the shaft. Here we go. This spins pretty freely. You gotta hold it with another hand. All right, when you get it out, you put it in this. That wasn't threaded. It was threaded in the pulley side. But now it's threaded here on this end, and it'll kind of push off the pulley from the spindle when you thread it in. And you do it the same for both sides. Just don't cross thread it. It needs the threads in order to get the work done. Number 7/16 inch on this one. And this is a 36 inch 2006 Wright standard. That's what this is. It's one of the high with the higher speed bearings. they upgraded it at some point based on your serial number. Then you'll get to a point like I did where they're making contact. You can see, then you're gonna go back and forth slowly, one at a time. So it's pushing this whole pulley off. It's separating it from here, all right? Because right now they're kind of combined the way they are. They're being held in place. We want to separate it so it drops down, and then this whole assembly will come out, and we can pull all of it off. There, it broke free. It's already free. That's good. Then we have to pull this entire assembly off of here, because this comes off as well. We should be able to stick a screwdriver in here, separate it, and it should slide off. So we get a screwdriver right in there. We gotta hold it steady, and then we'll hammer it in to open it up a little bit. I need to put the camera down while I do that. Okay, I hammered it in, and so you can pull this up now and off. The whole thing will come off. I need 2 hands to do that though. I gotta put this camera down again. Almost out, almost. All right, I got it off. Just hold the screwdriver in there now. We'll do this one at a time. Don't forget about the key that's in here. You're gonna need the key. Actually, I'm gonna need another screwdriver and hammer to kind of knock that up, because you're gonna need a key on the new part. And let's go take a look at the new part. You see this comes right off. So you're dealing with this, and then it's bolted onto the deck. So you've got nuts and bolts up and on top and on bottom. Let's look at the new parts that we're gonna replace this with. Here we go. So inside should be it's a much cleaner version of this. It looks the same. Here's what we got. Whoops. It all fell down. Be careful when you pressure wash your machine. A lot of times people want it nice and clean to work on it. And what happens is water gets in these bearings. You can see if you have this cover off and you're pressure washing, you're gonna get water in the bearings, and there's no way to add grease. So you destroy them. So whenever you take your car or your mower into the shop, if you do, tell them not to pressure wash these bearings, okay? Because they're gonna destroy them. And you can see where I need the key to match up. But this is, let's see, this is nice and smooth. Gosh, it's not turning very well. That's the turning on this. Nice and smooth. You can hear the bearings, listen to that. Those bearings are shot in this one. I think the other one was even worse. I'm using this and a hammer. I'm having a very hard time getting this key out of here, so I'm gonna just take this off the machine first, and then we'll work on getting that out of there. I'm gonna have to switch to the other side. I need to get access on this side to get underneath. All right, what I've got on these spindles holding to the deck is 9/16. To get your 9/16, this may have to be extension underneath, I don't know, or underneath is a nut. It's a bolt on top, nut on the bottom. So I'm needing an extension, like a medium extension on the top, and underneath I'm needing an extension too. And you're gonna have to clean a lot of debris here, and be careful of these nuts underneath, because a lot of times they get worn down by the grass if you've been cleaning it. If not, then maybe they've been protected by the grass, but either way they're rusted. Be very careful with these underneath. Make sure you got a straight shot and you got a lot of leverage, and you don't strip these. Be very, very careful. All right, now as you take these off, I'm getting them off, doing well. I forgot, you might want to take note of exactly where that pulley lands on this spindle. You can see it's rusted and the rust stops. That's how you can tell where to mount it to make sure it's the same height. You have to measure that, or just take a measurement from it. Actually, it's pretty clear on this one, so we're gonna do one at a time. I can just take the measurement off of that as I pull it off, as long as I don't wipe off all of the rust. Well, I had an issue with this one. This one seems hard to get to. I had to put a needle nose pliers underneath because it was stripping out. I'm just gonna have to move this one to a different position when I bring it off. Just gotta remember that. Yeah, this one wasn't doing so well. All right, now it should break free. Now there's nothing holding it on. You have to strike with the hammer a few times. Listen to that bearing noise. Bear with. Oh, there's no noise on this. thing is like welded on. It's supposed to come up through the top. I'll have to give it a few good blows from underneath without the camera. All right, I finally cracked this one loose. And this is a replacement, by the way. It's not the first time I did this, but it took quite a few blows of that hammer to break it loose. Hopefully nothing cracked, literally. Hopefully it just came out of here. And there's a reinforcement ring here. Make sure that stays in place. Okay, when you drop the new one in, and the new one will drop in, but let's get that key off of here first. All right, here's the key. Gotta knock it out from underneath, really, so it shoots up the top. That's what you want to do. Actually, I guess we could knock it down this way. Well, it might get caught down here. Better to go from the bottom up if you can. And we can. It's working. It's moving. We got a few raindrops here. Working outside. All right, this took a little bit of work and some damage there. That's the bottom part. Now I'll put it on the new one. New one looks like it has a better design where if I hit it down to the bottom, it slides out, which is much appreciated. And for this is just kind of, it moves around a lot, but it won't matter if there's no play in there. It just slides. Once we get, I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna hold off to put this in until we are ready to put that pulley on at the end. And let's see if these are the same height at the top. They look like they are, even though these bearing heights are different. You see, the shaft heights are the same, so I just need to drop down by that much. I don't have to measure that or just eyeball it, either one. Let's drop this thing in the machine. Putting that right there so I don't lose it. So we're just doing one side at a time. Remember, line all these holes up. I'm gonna put the problem one probably like right in here. This is the easiest one to get some leverage on. That's where I'll put it. It might be a good idea to replace these too, but I don't have extras. Maybe I should have ordered them. These are rusty, that's for sure. Got up on underneath. So let's try to tighten it here, see how that goes. And I won't make this one as tight as the other three, just because I know it's got issues. Let's do the other three now. I feel like this is like aluminum too. It's a different material. Maybe these will be longer lasting. This is like this is the third generation that I put on here. I've changed them out once before. This is the second time changing them out. Yeah, that is smooth. Oh my gosh, so much better than the old ones. All right, so I just turned them down rather evenly, switching, rotating, crossing like I do on a rim when you're mounting a rim with a tire on it onto a hub on a car. Not too super tight, but tight enough. And yeah, that's gonna be smooth. Let's get this tapered bearing put together. All right, so we need that. And we rest this down and we put the tapered hub in here. Let's spin it around. So it's like that. Okay. And this should drop onto it. Make sure that that key is up in there. It doesn't seem like it is, but let's get this bearing going by hand. We can undo these 7/16, and we start them in this hole where we just kind of connect them. That's what we're gonna do, right? Yeah. What I'm finding is easier is to feed this in through the top. Like that. Tap it with the hammer maybe. Took me a bunch of tapping to get that down. Let's get this thing to the same height. Uh-oh. Oh, it's kind of wedged that in there. Oh well, we'll play with that a little bit more. Just eyeballing it, that's about the same as this. So we're gonna leave it there. Oh, now I gotta reset it. Okay, so we don't need them in these holes anymore. We need them in the non-threaded holes, and we need to catch the threaded holes that are in this pulley. and it should be at the right height. I want to double check my measurements again. I'm using a tool where I can kind of line it up with the other one, the old one, and then measure it on here to make sure it's the same height. Then when we're sure it's lined up, we start to put these threaded ones in here, in the hole and into the threads, and tighten them down gently. So we do a little bit on each side. We kind of pull it up, spin it around, keep pulling it up, spin it around, and so on until we get it all the way to the top. Take your time. All right, not too tight, but make them snug, and check your measurements again. This is what I was using to measure. Looks to be the same. And then we're done. Just don't put too much force in this. You will snap these heads off. I have done that before. So this one is done. I'm just gonna do the other side as fast as I can, and then I'll put the belt back on, and we're ready to test. But yeah, that one is so much better. No noise, listen to that. It should always be like that. Well, I had a problem. I did break one of them off, and this one was very, very stubborn, and I ended up striking it down with a hammer, which I recommend before you break this thing off, because I broke one off. I'm gonna have to use a vice grip to twist that one out of there now, after I get this whole assembly off of here. Well, at least I thought it was stuck, but I'm not stuck, at least. All right, well, I had a problem. I couldn't even get this thing out, even with my vice grips. I'll have to drill it out next time. And my advice is just turn these down when you start putting them in here, and just start, once you get these off, just start hammering this thing down. Don't use the screws as much. I've done this before, so I actually took one off of here, and I had a spare, as you can see. And then I tightened the blades down. Don't tighten them down too much, enough, but not too little either, otherwise they'll start spinning off. And let's get this belt on, and let's finish this job, and hopefully it works. All right, that should be it. Let's turn it on and listen to the sound of the smooth bearings. Let that in. Down there. That's it. Thanks so much for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe.